A well-known Central Kentucky businessman and his daughter died in a crash on Interstate 64. What people in the community are saying about them.
A Central Kentucky antiques dealer says a thief stole his trailer with thousands of dollars worth of items inside. Now he's asking for your help in the case.
School starts tomorrow, but bus drivers are still needed here in Jessamine County. Find out how they're making up for the shortage coming up.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening to you. Tonight, a Central Kentucky community is remembering a well-known Montgomery County businessman and his daughter. Police say they died in a crash on Interstate 64.
And this morning, the coroner identified those victims of Sunday's crash as 77-year-old Frank Fortune and 57-year-old Sherry Lynn Shippawick. Today, our Victor Puente talked to people who knew them. It's our top story at 6.
Frank Fortune helped start this business almost 40 years ago. The people who work with him say he wasn't just a good boss, he was also a great man. A crash Sunday on Interstate 64 killed 77-year-old Frank Fortune and his daughter, 57-year-old Sherry Lynn Shippawick.
I was devastated, and we were all in shock. I mean, we just couldn't believe it.
Fortune's employees came to work Monday knowing the man who had been a constant presence was gone.
It's just now, I think, hitting us, you know, that he is gone. And he did a lot. He did a lot for the company. He did all the deliveries.
Sheriff Fred Shortridge says the two were killed when the driver of a semi parked on the shoulder pulled onto the interstate and Fortune hit the trailer. He said witnesses said Fortune tried to avoid them. Shippawick had recently moved back to Kentucky to live with her father. In a Facebook post, Fortune's stepdaughter shared pictures of him and wrote that he was always thinking of others and how he could make things better or easier for everyone.
He was her, you know, to her, he was her father, you know, and she adored him.
Montgomery County Sheriff Fred Shortridge said he doesn't know yet if there'll be any citations or charges because of that crash. In Montgomery County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Visitation for Fortune and Shippawick will be tomorrow night at the Tall Funeral Home in Mount Sterling. Their funeral will be held Thursday morning at 11. Now to a developing story we're tracking out of southern Kentucky tonight. Corbin police are looking for a man they say stole a truck after a court hearing. They say the suspect, Johnny Mullis, was just released from jail yesterday. He had a hearing at the Whitley County Courthouse this afternoon, but police say after the hearing, Mullis stole an attorney's truck. They also say 2 guns were inside the truck.
He had just wrapped up his work during the annual 127 yard sale, but a Boyle County antiques dealer says a thief then took advantage of him. He says that the thief stole his trailer with thousands of dollars of antiques inside, and he now fears he may not get some of those valuables back. Phil Pendleton has the story, new at 6.
He wrecked my trailer.
After the weekend yard sale,
and tore the side of it up.
Daryl Sutherland says someone stole his trailer full of $50,000 in antiques and rare wares.
Crocs, charms, the real expensive items.
The theft wasn't enough. Police say they received tips the thief was simply giving the stuff away.
Well, because they got calls. Hey, a guy just gave me a $300 churn. Had the price tag on it.
Police arrested Jerry Stratton at his house. Police say that the man told them that he thought that this trailer was simply left behind at the yard sale as trash. Now, it has been said that one man's trash is another man's treasure, but Sutherland says what was in this trailer was hardly garbage.
These are priceless.
He does admit that he deals in junk, but it's expensive junk.
This one alone, Phil, is $150.
All the more reason to get back what he says the thief simply gave away. In Boyle County,
Biggest selling things are literally junk.
Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Sutherland asked anyone who accepted a free item from Stratton to call Junction City Police. He says he won't press charges. He just wants his items back.
We are learning more tonight about a deadly shooting in Scott County involving state police. Investigators say police shot 34-year-old Juan Godines yesterday afternoon on Midway Road during a chase. They say he died at the scene. Police say Godines was wanted in a domestic violence case. Now, according to court documents, after he crashed his car during the chase, police demanded to see his hands, but police say he didn't show them and instead pointed a gun in their direction. and that's when police say they shot and killed Godines. Police say the 2 troopers involved are now on administrative leave.
It has been a common sight this summer, and again tonight, more slow-moving storms have popped up across much of the bluegrass. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell shows us what he is tracking on the First Alert Defender right now. Jim?
And we have plenty out there, guys. Again, they're scattered in nature, but once you get caught under them, you know exactly what they can do, and that is produce a lot of heavy rainfall in a short amount of time. We've been watching one around parts of Estill County and over into Madison County that's been kind of hanging around for an extended period of time. The rest of them have lifted well off to the north, and they will continue to do so, but we've got more trying to feed in from our south. One of the stronger areas is a little batch stretching from Maysville back into Mount Olivet, into Cynthiana, and then even into northern parts of Fayette County, where it's a little bit weaker compared to the just thunderstorm threat. Period. There you see the thunderstorm that's moving through Mount Olivet at this point with heavy rain, but lifting through there rather quickly. Let's go check out one now into Clark County, southern sections of the area. This is the one that was impacting folks in Estill County a little while ago, and then out along the BG Parkway from just outside of Lawrenceburg, then back down toward Bardstown. We're tracking another round in that area. So it's action-packed everywhere you go on Defender Radar Network today, and through the rest of the evening, we'll probably track a few more. And then tomorrow, same thing with all this humidity around. I will break it all down more in detail coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll see you then, Jim. Thank you. Summer vacation comes to an end this week for thousands of students around central Kentucky. That includes Jessamine County students who head back to school tomorrow.
But the school district is among those around the state that are beginning the new year with a shortage of school bus drivers. Andrea Walker shows us what Jessamine County is doing to try to fill in the gaps.
The fleet is ready, but according to Chris Bellman, Director of Transportation in Jessamine County, he's still looking for people to fill some empty driver's seats.
We're still looking to hire 8 to 10 drivers. We have enough drivers to start the year, but we need a few more subs at this point.
Tomorrow, the first day of school, they'll be 4 drivers short, which means they have to be creative to cover their routes.
When we are short a driver or two, we're able to split routes sometimes where another driver who has one particular route is still able to cover another route and do extra work. So we do that on an almost daily basis.
When that doesn't work,
we'll cover them with office staff and mechanical shop staff if needed, but we'll have plenty to get everybody home.
according to Bellman, the benefits of becoming a bus driver are actually pretty good. Starting pay is $13.66 an hour. Drivers receive health insurance, paid sick days, and perhaps the biggest perk for parents,
you're working when your children are in school, so it gives a lot of folks extra time to be with their children in this job. So that's a good benefit too.
As for the requirements,
well, you have to be 21 years old and have your high school diploma or GED. The training process, usually from beginning to end, usually takes 4 to 6 weeks. And clean driving record, of course, and a clean criminal record too.
Bellman says the training process usually takes about 4 to 6 weeks. In Jessamine County, Andrea Walker, WKYT.
And with school starting, you'll want to keep school bus safety in mind. Last year, Kentucky had 852 school bus-related crashes, resulting in almost 300 injuries and 3 deaths. Now, sharing the road means stopping when a school bus has its stop sign extended. You have to stop regardless of whether you're following or approaching the bus from the opposite direction. As you see here, they're stopped in both directions. The exception is when the roadway is 4 lanes or more, because those are generally divided highways like you see here. So the cars back here have to stop. Across the barrier on the other side of the highway, they have to use caution, but not necessarily come to a complete stop. The punishment for not stopping for a school bus is a $100 to $200 fine and or a jail sentence of 30 to 60 days. It could also lead to a 6-point offense on your driver's license.
Tonight, the University of Kentucky's student newspaper faces a lawsuit from the university itself. It stems from an open records request the Kentucky colonel filed for documents in a sexual harassment case. The university turned down the request, but the Kentucky Attorney General's office later issued an opinion saying UK violated the open records law. But as Sean Moody tells us, UK is now appealing.
It was definitely nerve-wracking at first.
The Kentucky Colonel's new editor-in-chief, Marjorie Kirk, starts her senior year of school knee-deep in real-world journalism issues.
I just kind of hope it shows people that we mean business.
Back in April, the paper sent an open records request to the university asking for documents regarding allegations of sexual harassment by a tenured faculty member. The university sent some documents, but not others.
As we were going through them, we just saw there were what we thought were some incomplete explanations.
So the Colonel's staff appealed to the Attorney General to force the university to release the rest of the documents. Just a few days ago, the AG sided with the Colonel.
I was like, oh my gosh, like they sided with us. I can't believe it.
But the university will fight that decision. UK spokesman Jay Blanton says information in those documents could reveal the identity of the person who made the complaint.
It's about the trust that people put in us when they come and they report a crime. They step outside their comfort zone and they report a crime to us where they've been victimized. Think about the chilling effect that it would have if they thought we might disclose that information to somebody.
In order to appeal the AG's decision, the university must file litigation against the organization who made the original request. To fight it, their only course of action is to sue the student newspaper.
This is the way the process is supposed to work. When you disagree, you go to the courts and you ask for a neutral third party to give you an opinion.
So this was their only available course of action, basically, and so we understand why they did it.
This young editor is ready for the next step in this real-world learning experience.
I am inspired by all of this to just keep pushing and to keep fighting for what I believe the public is entitled to.
At the University of Kentucky, Sean Moody, WKYT.
In the past, the Kentucky Press Association has helped fund representation for the Colonel. They haven't determined how they'll move forward with funding for this case just yet.
A close call in downtown Danville today when a fire started in a restaurant. How firefighters say they kept it from spreading quickly. Next.
And then why a restaurant chain that began in Lexington years ago is now filed for bankruptcy.
New tonight, investigators are trying to figure out what caused a fire that damaged a Danville restaurant.
The fire started just before 4 this afternoon at Bluegrass Pizza and Pub in downtown Danville. Firefighters say everyone inside at the time got out safely, and they say because the fire department is just a block away, firefighters were able to respond and put out the fire quickly. Firefighters say they were worried that fire would spread.
Main Street, got buildings right on top of one another. You have a really big exposure protection problem. Plus, they're older buildings, so they have a lot of open voids and open spaces where the fire can get in and travel. So they're pretty dangerous.
Firefighters say that fire didn't cause much damage to the restaurant, but because the electricity had to be turned off, firefighters say much of the food will have to be thrown out.
New tonight, a steakhouse chain that began here in central Kentucky has filed for bankruptcy. Logan's Roadhouse leaders say that falling sales, rising food costs, and tough competition led to that decision. In a statement, the chain announced its plans to close 18 underperforming restaurants, but those locations have not yet been announced. Logan says that its chief executive will also leave the company. The company is based in Nashville, but the first Logan's Roadhouse opened in Lexington in 1991.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Rain has started to settle down here in Lexington, but other locations around us still picking up on some pretty impressive amounts with loads of lightning. Our sky cam pointed out toward the west, tracking a little sunlight out there in between some of those clouds. Very thick cloud cover, though, will still be kind of hanging around here for the next little bit as well. We're at 79 degrees because of the rain passing through the area, knocking temperatures down. So here in Lexington, we watched all of that cool. Now, let's look at our Defender radar network where we do have more rounds of showers and thunderstorms. One that might again pass right through parts of Fayette County. That's the reason the cloud cover sticks around, got more energy out there. Here's the more organized areas that we have, at least one of them, into Mount Olivet and then stretching back now into Bourbon County and right through Cynthiana as well. Good little heavy rainmakers are passing through all of these locations. There you see the lightning associated with it as well. Let's move to the south because this one certainly has the potential to bring more heavy rain into the folks there in Winchester and along the Mountain Parkway. You can see so it's on that end of Clark County, so it'll continue working northward and eventually impact the interstate and along the Bluegrass Parkway as well. Another that's lifting toward the north and will start pushing back toward the northeast here soon. all spinning around an area of low pressure. At least this moisture arriving into the area is. Then it gets caught up by another element going on in the atmosphere and kind of drives it back toward the northeast. So this low is going to be a troublemaker for us for the next several days because it's just going to send a big pipeline of moisture into Kentucky. So as we track over the next few days, the best areas to see heavy rain, you notice right now, Lexington to Danville, Richmond, all of us in that high-risk zone. This might include more of southern Kentucky. Some of the new model data is coming in suggesting they could be in on that as well. So might shift that here a little bit later on this evening. But certainly all of us in the highest risk potential to see heavy rounds of rain throughout the rest of this week and into the weekend as well, because another system starts to get in position. Let's take through the rest of the evening now. Scattered showers and thunderstorms still holding steady by 11, but overnight and early tomorrow morning, it's quiet. We're not dealing with that rain, at least at that point. We get into Wednesday. Notice some of it's shifting more to the north. Well, that's an area of concern as well, falling on the outer skirts here of the outskirts of that high-risk area of heavy rain. But we start tracking more showers and thunderstorms here in central, southern, and eastern Kentucky at that point. Again, any one of these could produce an inch, 2 inches very easily. If they get to slow moving, we could produce even more than that. That's just something to keep in mind because the setup in the atmosphere is very favorable for those types of thunderstorms here over the next several days. So we have those chances going into the weekend. The influence of the low probably lasts all the way through your Saturday, Sunday, and then another system will come in, kind of boot it out, and that's going to slow down and keep the rain chances alive into next week. We've had rainy periods, we know that, so far this summer, but this one might be a little more rainier because of the just true tropical nature of the air outside, guys.
Really unfortunate for flood-prone areas that have been just soaked and damaged in many areas as well.
You've got to keep your eyes open over the next several days here because you just never know when it's going to be your area. That's the unfortunate thing.
Okay, thanks, Jim.
Well, Brian is up next, and in case you missed it, UK basketball is losing a player.
Yeah, that's right, but he's not going anywhere, so to speak, just going to show another side of his athleticism. And we all know Dorian Baker can dazzle us with great plays, but he's also got to fix the drops. Sports is next. As we told you earlier, UK guard E.J. Floreal leaving the UK basketball team, but he's not going very far. Floreal has decided to give up hoops and instead run track for his dad, Edric, the UK track and field coach. Floreal ran track in high school, both in California and here in Lexington at Dunbar. He will have 2 years of eligibility remaining. Dorian Baker arrived at UK a 4-star prospect with unlimited potential, but after 2 seasons with the Wildcats, he's still something of a mystery. Baker started all 12 games last year, leading the team with 55 catches, but he's been troubled by drops and inconsistency. Baker said today it's time he becomes more mature.
Just working to be a better person, just working to just grow up, Last year, I'm not going to say I was immature, but I was in the process of growing up, and this year I'm just taking it as a business trip, This is all just business, just looking forward to the season. It was hard because, you got so many different people coming at you, so many different angles telling you what you should do, what you should not do, and what's best for you, what's not best for you. At the end of the day, I know what's best for me, and I know what I need to do, so that's what like I said, I'm just trying to fix little things.
We continue our countdown to UK football, now just 25 days away. 25, the number worn by Darius West, Melvin Johnson, Mark Logan, and several others. Of course, 25 is also the number of career rushing TDs by George Adams and Derek Ramsey. And Boom Williams ran for a 25-yard touchdown in overtime at the Swamp back in 2014. To see all the countdown info, click on the sports page at WKYT.com.
Sort of clouds rolling around out there, and your radar's sort of active right now in places.
It is, and it's about to rain here again. So we'll have another good heavy round of rain, especially on this end of town. And then a few more scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the rest of the evening. Again, keep in mind, if you run into one of them, it can produce a lot of rain in a short amount of time. That's a big concern here as we move through the rest of the evening and over the next several days here. So watch out for those flash flood producing
And all this happening when a lot of kids, children are going back to school. 42,000 just in Fayette County back to school tomorrow, right? Wow.
An incredible amount. And numerous others tomorrow as well. Yeah.
Watch, no doubt.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you back here at 11.